Hello and welcome to episode 45 of my Working with Todoist series. In this episode, I'm going to continue with my GTD plus Todoist series using Todoist as a pure GTD tool. So let's get started. If you remember from the last episode, I point out there's 5 steps to GTD. This is capture, clarify, organize, reflect, and engage. And with these, we've got capture, which is capture everything, which I did in episode 44. Today, we're going to be focusing on clarify. What is it? Number 3 is where does it go? Number 4, review everything. And number 5, do it, which I will cover in future episodes. So let's go into a little bit more detail on clarify. What is it? Basically, that's what clarify means. And from the Getting Things Done website, clarify is defined as take everything that you capture and ask, is it actionable? If no, then trash it, incubate it, or file it as reference. If yes, decide the very next action required. If it will take less than 2 minutes, do it now. If not, delegate it if you can, or put it on a list to do when you can. So essentially we have a number of questions here, and this is really all that clarifying is asking a series of questions. The first one is, what is it? The second one, is it actionable? Is there something that you can do to make this task happen? And finally, the question is, what is the next action? What's the next action? What is the next physical action that you can take that will make this task be completed? Okay, so let's go into Todoist and have a look. Here I am in my inbox. And let's imagine this is after a typical day's work. So I have about 10 or 11 tasks in here. And let's have a look. One of the things that you should always do is don't cherry pick your tasks for clarifying. Just start at the top or start at the bottom and start asking the questions. So the first one here, I've got check to see when next episode of Elementary is on. So the first thing I'm going to do is, what is it? This is basically an internet search. And all I would have to do to make this one happen is just go into Safari and do, I could just type in elementary, like so. And I could quickly find out, actually I know to go to CBS on this one because that's the channel in the US that plays this. And I know that actually the last season of Elementary has just finished. I have seen the last episode, so that's done. So I've now done, that took less than 2 minutes. I've checked, it's finished, so I can just click off that task, it's done. Next one is remember to reschedule Project A meeting for next week. Now this one's going to be a little bit more difficult because if we go into the next question, is it actionable? So the first thing is remember to reschedule Project A meeting for next week. Now the first thing I'm going to do is what is it? Well, this is a work thing, and I have to decide. I have to reschedule a project meeting. This is going to be more than one task. I can tell immediately because I'm going to have to make sure that all the people in the meeting can make it on the time and date. So is it actionable? Of course it is. What's the next physical action? That's send an email. So this is going to be a project. So I would jump down here. I would type in Project A meeting and add the project. And I'm going to type in here email participants to check when they can have the next meeting. Now, the thing with GTD is you don't have to go and fill this out completely. All you need to do is just get to the next physical meeting. The next physical action. So in this case, the next physical action is email participants to check when they can have the next meeting. So I've effectively done that, and this was a daily mini review. I'm not really going to go any further. I can now check off that task because I've created the project. Buy dog food. Now this one I would just move on to my shopping list. So I don't keep my shopping list in Todoist. I keep my shopping list in my reminders app. So all I would have to do here is, okay, open up my reminders app. Apologies, my computer's a bit slow. Actually, to be honest, I would use Siri for this. So I would just type in here dog food. Oops. Dog food. And that's done. So I can now tick off that one. Recharge laptop. This is a physical, actually a physical task. So I would just stop what I'm doing right now, go to my laptop and connect it and charge it. So that's a 2-minute task. That's done. Have a look at new running shoes. Now this one's an interesting one because this is going to be a research project. I can tell immediately. Have a look at, for me, always tells me research. So what I'm going to do with this one is, this is a project. So buy new running shoes. Actually, I would just put running shoes as my project. And in here, I'm going to add in look at the latest six running shoes, and I can add that task. Again, remember the whole point of the clarifying isn't necessarily filling out the whole project. If I had more time, if I was, say it was a public holiday, a bank holiday or something, then yeah, maybe I would fill it out a little bit more. But this is just part of my daily mini review. So I've done that. I'll have a look at new running shoes. Okay, the next task on my list is urgent client email. Now I've sent this from my Gmail account, so I can just click on that. And I can have a look at the email and reply to this urgently. Now, this one I find is a little bit of one of those either or tasks. This could be, yes, I can come and see you next Thursday, in which case it's a 2-minute task and I would do it immediately. But it could also be an email that requires a lot of information. So if I've think, yes, this is going to take a little more than 2 minutes, because again, I'm asking, what is it? What's the next physical action? Well, in this case, let's imagine that the next physical action is for me to research something. So I've had a look at the email. I realize what I'm going to have to do, and this one is this. Let's imagine that in my student affairs project, I can add a task saying, let's just reply, find out where the file is for client A. Done. Okay, so that's done, and I can now go back into that. I can check that one off. Remember to book table for dinner on Saturday. Now imagine that the next question on this one would be, imagine I was having dinner with my wife. So on Saturday, and we have to book a table. I would then move into my home folder, and for this one, I would probably put, I would actually start putting in a list on this, because I would start doing a list on this, and I would do that on Wednesday. And so I could save that. I could actually move that directly now into move to another project, and that would go into my single actions list. That's done. So as you can see, as we're going through these, I'm making decisions fairly quickly. Take trousers into dry cleaners for cleaning. Now let's say this task is one of those ones where it was just a last minute, oh yeah, I should think about that. So I go and have a look at my trousers and think, nah, they don't need cleaning, so I can just delete that task. Enter New York Marathon. Okay, now this is a biggie. Because anyone who's ever run marathons, you will know that these sort of big marathons, there's a lot of information to get, a lot of applications to download. So I'm going to type in a project for this. So call that New York Marathon. I know what the next action on this will be, which is look online for registration documents. Okay, so I've added that task. That's done. So I can move on because, again, remember, this is a daily mini review. This is not the full weekly review. Look into buying case for iPad Pro. I just recently bought an iPad Pro 9.7 inch, and it's an amazing tool, by the way. And one of the things, although I've got the smart keyboard and the pencil, I find that there's no place to put the pencil, and the back is exposed of the iPad when it's in my bag. So I decided that I should get a case so that it covers the actual iPad. So what this is going to be a research project, I know immediately. So again, I'm going to start an iPad Pro case, and the next task is to look at SF Bags website for iPad cases. SF Bags, by the way, is probably one of the best bags company in the world. SF stands for San Francisco. Just for those of you guys, if you're interested in computer cases, computer bags, messenger bags, any kind of bag for any kind of computer, I strongly recommend that you go to sfbags.com. It's an amazing site. They are super friendly people, and you would never be disappointed. I have 2 of their bags and several cases, and they'll last forever. So that's another task that's been completed. And finally, I've got this, just a website. I don't know what it is. It just says Omega Watches, Seamaster Aquaterre. So I'm going to click on that, have a look at it, and think, okay, am I interested? Oh, yes, I'm very interested. That's a beautiful watch. However, being Omega, I might imagine that this is going to be very expensive, and I'm not really in the mood to do that. So what I would probably do, this is reference material. I might one day win the lottery or something. So I'm going to send that to my Evernote account, and all I do is click on Evernote, and I have the Evernote web clipper here, and I can just save that directly into my inbox of Evernote. And that's going to be a whole new episode at a later date. But now that's that done. So effectively, I've now gone through my whole inbox, and I have a clean inbox. So what you've noticed is I've created 4 projects from 11 tasks. Each project has at least one next action in it. And that is essentially what you do when you clarify. Adding labels, or context as we call them in GTD, that's for the next episode. But just for your reference, when you're processing your email, you have to ask 3 questions. What is it? Is it actionable? What's the next action? And as long as you get the next action, then you are done. Now, remember, this is just the clarifying stage, and yes, this does tend to go against my principle of not having more than 3 active projects at one time. But remember, this series that I'm doing at the moment is all about using GTD as a pure form in Todoist. And essentially, that's what you would have. In the next episode, when we move to organize, well, that's where we start adding labels and start moving projects around and so on. So hopefully you will find that very useful. Don't forget, if you have any questions at all about this, please leave a message in the comment section and I will reply to you. And also, if you have any questions at all about GTD, I would strongly recommend that you do go ahead and buy the GTD book. It is an amazing book and it will change your life. Okay, so until the next episode, have a very productive week, and I will see you in episode 46.